Now we will see about plotting in R programming. So what does plotting basically mean? So the plotting and plotting is nothing, creating visual effects from your data which will be useful for your clients, which to understand what exactly the analysis or insights are trying to tell you. That is what basically it is. Now we'll see about the plotting. The plotting and graphics engine in R is encapsulated in a few base and recommended packages. So there is the graphics package. It contains plotting functions for the base graphics systems, including plot, hist, box plot, and many others. So lattice is a package which contains code for producing trellis graphics, which are independent of the base graphics system. They include functions like xy plot, bw plot, level plot, etc. So the next thing is grid. Grid it implements a different graphing system independent of the base system. The lattice package builds on top of grid. We seldom call functions from the grid package directly. So using them is quite a complex thing. So hence the usage. So GR devices, it contains all the code implementing the various graphics devices including X11, PDF, PostScript, PNG, etc. The process of making a plot. So when making a plot, one must first make a few choices. No, not necessarily in this order, but you have to make a few choices before deciding on which package to import while you are carrying out with the process of making the plot. So to what device will the plot be sent? So maybe for our programming, the default is Unix is X11. The default in Unix is X11. On Windows, it is Windows OS. On Mac OS X, it is Quartz. So is the plot for viewing temporarily on the screen, or will it eventually end up in a paper, or are you going to take printouts or something like that? Are you using it in a presentation? Plots included in a paper or a presentation, they need to use a file device rather than a screen device. So next thing is like, is there a large amount of data going into the plot, or is it just a few points? Do we need to be able to resize the graphic, etc., etc.? So these kind of decisions you need to take before you have to making the plot from the graphs. Okay. So next kind of decisions is like, what graphic system are you going to use? Whether the base or grid or lattice. You cannot mix these plotting systems. So base graphics are usually constructed piecemeal with which each aspect of the plot handled separately through a series of function calls. So this is often conceptually simpler and allows plotting to mirror the thought process. So lattice or grid graphics are usually created in a single function call. So all of the graphics parameters have to be specified at once. Specifying everything at once, it allows R um, automatically or to automatically calculate the necessary spacings and font sizes. So base graphics, like what are these base graphics that we use in R programming is that, so they are used most commonly and are the very powerful system for creating two-dimensional graphics. So simple graphs like plot of xy or hist of x, it will launch a graphics device if one is not already open, and it will draw the plot on the device. So if the argument to plot or not of some special class, then the default method for plot is called. This function has many arguments, letting you set the title, x-axis label, y-axis label, etc., etc. The base graphic system, they have, it has many parameters. So these parameters can, set, they can be set and tweaked for your necessary purposes. So these parameters are also documented in questionnaire par. It wouldn't hurt, to memorize this help page. So if you want to get the help of the parameters, so use a question mark followed by par. This help page will help you get to know about the base graphic system. So there are what are some of the base, important base graphics parameters? The par function, as I told you earlier, it is used to specify uh, global graphics parameters that affects all plots in an R session. These parameters can often be overridden as arguments to specific plotting functions. PCH is the, it is a plotting symbol. Default, it creates an open circle. So LTY, the line type. LTY mentions the line type. So default is a solid line. It can be, dashed line, or it can be a dotted line, or anything else, etc. So LWD, it specifies the line width. Default is, specified as an integer multiple. So, and call is nothing but the color in which the plot is being made. The plotting color, it's specified as a number, string, or hex code. The colors function gives you a vector of colors by name. So las las is nothing but, the orientation of the axis labels on the plot. So these are the parameters, you need to know about when you start working with base graphics. So what are, there are some more parameters which can be used in base graphics. BG, which means the background color. Mar, which means the margin size. OMA, the outer margin size, default is 0 for all sites. And MF row, which means number of plots per row, comma column. Plots are filled row wise. And MF call, number of plots per row, comma column. Plots are filled column wise. So these are, the important base graphics parameters which, you need to know about, which if you want to use the base graphics system. So in those parameters I was telling you about, there are like if you want to see the default parameters, all you have to do is use the par function to get the default values. For example, let's say if I want to get the par of line type, I can go to the R module. I can get par of LTY, and you'll get the resized window. So solid. So as you can see, the same way if you do for par of line width, you'll get as 1. The default line width is 1, and par of call is black, which means the default color is black, and par of PCH is 1, which the default is a line circle. So some default values, par of BG. BG is background, which is transparent, will be mostly white in color. And par of margin is 5.1, 4.1, 4.1, 2.1, default margins for all the sizes. So par of OMA is 0, 0, 0, 0, and par of M of row is 1, 1, par of M of call equal to 1, 1. So these are some of the, important basic parameters for which you need to know the default values as well when you are using constructing plots using the base graphics. So some important base plotting functions. So the first function, and the foremost and the most used function is plot. Plot, it makes a scatter plot or other type of plot depending on the class of the object that is being plotted. So lines, it adds lines to the plot. Given a vector x values and a corresponding vector of y values are a 2-column matrix, this function just connects the dots and points. Points same as lines. It add, what points does is it add points to a plot. And text, it adds text labels to a plot using specified x comma y coordinates. And title, it add annotations to x comma y axis labels, title, subtitle, outer margin, etc. mtext, add it adds arbitrary text to the margins, inner or outer of the plot. And axis, it adds axis text slash labels.